President Trump, the DOGE, and the VA leadership have launched an all-out attack on the federal workforce, we will not stand for that.
We will push back against these unreasonable orders. We will fight shortfalls.
If DOGE actually believe in efficiency, they should study what the VA does and not destroy the VA. AFGE is going to stand with you every step of the way.
VA workers, hear me now. Stay strong, stay focused, above all, stay together.
AFGE!
Hello, everyone. I'm MJ Burke, president of the National VA Council, and I'm so proud to announce that your contract has been restored. As you may have seen in our social media accounts and the National VA Council newsletter, a federal judge in Rhode Island has granted the National VA Council a preliminary injunction, restoring our contract immediately. This victory is a direct result of you, our members, standing with us in unity and supporting the National VA Council in the fight for the future of the VA. Here is an overview of what we will accomplish on tonight's call. Each of us on the panel tonight will be active in the chat along with many of our colleagues. We will do our best to answer any of your questions you may have. You may also email your questions to communication@nationalvacouncil.org. Before we begin, I would like to review the AFGE Code of Conduct. AFGE's Code of Conduct sets expectations for acceptable behavior of all participants at AFGE activities, events, or meetings. You may access the Code of Conduct at afge.org/Code of Conduct. If you believe you have been subjected to unacceptable behavior, please contact the Code of Conduct designee for this meeting. The designee for this meeting will be Thomas Dargan, Jr. Now, let's dive right in with the legal update from Thomas Dargan, Deputy General Counsel for the National VA Council. Take it away, Thomas.
Thank you very much, President Burke. My name is Thomas Dargan. I'm the Deputy General Counsel for the National VA Council here at AFGE. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your evenings tonight to come and learn more about this lawsuit, what AFGE is doing to support you, and how you can get involved in our fight going forward. First, I want to back up and tell you how we got here. The President issued an Executive Order 14251 on March 27th of 2025, finding that several agencies and departments were engaged in intelligence, counterintelligence, or national security work, and therefore collective bargaining rights of the employees at those agencies and departments could not be afforded consistent with national security considerations. AFGE filed a lawsuit quickly in April of 2025, challenging the legality of that executive order. That case is pending out in California. You can find more information about it at afge.org/lawsuit updates. The case that brings us here, though, is one filed by the National VA Council. So in August of 2025, August 6th to be specific, Secretary Doug Collins terminated our master collective bargaining agreement for every bargaining unit employee represented by AFGE except police officers, firefighters, and security guards. Now, we represent more than 320,000 bargaining unit employees at the VA. That's pretty much every occupation that you see in healthcare facilities, in the Veterans Benefits Administration, the cemeteries, OINT, finance, call centers, the crisis line, the Board of Veterans Appeals. Wherever there are VA employees, AFGE has a presence. And Secretary Collins took our collective bargaining agreement and tore it up. He terminated it, saying that he was compelled to do so by the executive order. But the executive order was signed in March. We got all the way to August, and VA maintained the status quo. But they issued that termination decision on August 6th, and NVAC was quick to challenge it. We filed a lawsuit in the District of Rhode Island, along with one of our sister locals, AFGE 2305. That lawsuit was filed, and we quickly sought a preliminary injunction from the court. The government had an opportunity to respond, and we had an opportunity to reply. We had a hearing in February of this year, and just on Friday, March 13th, Judge Melissa Dubose of the District of Rhode Island granted our motion for preliminary injunction. Now, our arguments were that NVAC and its members, that's all of you, were likely to suffer irreparable harm in the absence of an injunction restoring our collective bargaining agreement. We argued that the termination by Doug Collins was First Amendment retaliation, so the agency retaliating against NVAC and its members for lobbying, for litigating, for filing grievances, for speaking out against the unlawful conduct of this administration. We also argued that that decision in August was a violation of a law called the Administrative Procedure Act, which requires agencies like the VA to act reasonably and rationally when making agency-level decisions. Judge Dubose sided with NVAC on both arguments. She found that we were likely to prevail on the merits of our First Amendment retaliation claim and our Administrative Procedure Act claims. And going further, she found that we are likely to suffer irreparable harm if that collective bargaining agreement is not restored while the litigation proceeds. We provided hundreds of pages of evidence and dozens of declarations from staff and union officials across the country showing how the termination of the collective bargaining agreement has caused irreparable harm to you, the employees on the ground. We know that VA has told you there's no union anymore. They can't do anything for you. You can't speak to them at the work site. You're not entitled to performance improvement plans. Your union can't be on safety committees. Your schedule's been terminated. Your environmental differential pay has been terminated. You don't have access to parental benefits that your union negotiated for you. Each one of those are an example of the types of harm that our employees, our bargaining unit employees, and our union officials who represent them are suffering right now. Judge Dubose on Friday ordered the complete restoration of our master agreement, as well as any local agreements that we have at the facility level. And that's an incredible win. It is a milestone victory for this union. It is the result of months and months of hard work and coordination. I want to applaud the local union officials on this call who have supplied us with evidence and emails and memos and been on calls on nights and weekends to make sure we have access to the information we need to present these legal claims. And our fight's not over. Today, it's Tuesday night. VA hasn't said a word about this injunction. Many of you might have heard from your supervisors and managers. We're waiting for guidance from VA central office. Well, the injunction decision was pretty clear to me. It said that VA was required to restore our master agreement, and they haven't done so yet. They are still refusing to comply with the master agreement as applied to nurses, doctors, housekeepers, veteran service representatives, cemetery caretakers, and the like. VA is only following our contract for police officers, firefighters, and security guards. So what we need from you right now is evidence. We need you to stay plugged in with your local union officials across the country. If you are hearing things from your managers about what this injunction decision means, if you are requesting a compressed work schedule or an alternative work schedule that you used to have back in June or July of last year and VA is refusing to reinstate it, please share that information with your local union officials so that they can get that to us. We fully expect we're going to have to go back to the court and explain the status of VA's non-compliance with this injunction decision. And to prevail, to continue to prevail, we're going to need evidence from you. So please keep your ears open, keep your eyes open, be sending and sharing information to your local union officials so that we can continue to do the work we need to do to make this litigation successful. I do want to thank the council for their leadership here. This litigation, there's plenty of lawsuits against the Trump administration. I'm really proud of the work that this council is doing to defend your rights and uphold the values that are so important to all of us. This is one small step in a very long road toward fighting back against the administration's unlawful attacks on collective bargaining, but it deserves to be celebrated. Everyone on this call should take a moment to thank their union and make sure that we're all taking care of one another, because this fight is far from over. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dave Can. He is the Director of Membership and Organizing here at AFGE. He's going to tell you how we can use this win to help mobilize and keep up the momentum in the days and weeks ahead. With that, I'll turn it over to Dave.
Thank you, Thomas. And thank you all of you for joining us tonight. We're at an incredibly important moment in our fight to make sure that we preserve our jobs and our rights at work. As you know, for the past year, the agency has had a relentless attack on our unions and our jobs. And we've won all of them by standing together. Just last year, they said they were going to lay off about 75,000 VA workers. And we defeated that effort. We defeated that effort by standing union strong and making sure that we protested at the agency level and, most importantly, at the local level, the facility level. We brought in the community that requires our support. We brought in veteran service organizations that appreciate the value of the work that we do. We brought in the community that sees the necessity of having its veterans supported and ultimately relies on the overall power and significance of these facilities in their backyard. And even politicians who, in aggregate, oftentimes stand against the rights of federal employees in the VA work, realize the importance of having that service provided in their own districts. And as a result, all of those layoffs got walked away from. This is the same fight we won before when we were battling the Air Commission, where they were going to shut down over 200 different facilities. We rallied and we won. Your union has a history, in good times and bad, of standing together and defeating efforts to take away our jobs and the work that we do protecting the mission, protecting the veteran. None of that has changed. We are at a point now where the agency may argue that the union is gone, but we're still winning these battles. And that's what happened with this court case, where they are now being required to recognize that the union never went anywhere, that the union stands together, and that we're protecting our jobs. Now, it's important to realize that all of you who stood together are the reason that we've had this success, just like we have in the past. But those of you that have walked away from the union under the mistaken apprehension that the union is gone can see the proof that the union is still here and the union is still what's protecting our jobs. Because at the end of the day, the fight's not going to stop for the next 3 years. They're not going to stop until they've privatized all of our work and the money is going to their rich buddies, or they've decided that some of the work that we do is not essential. They don't believe in it, and it's not getting done at all. The only group fighting to make sure that federal employees are doing this work are federal employees and the people that we bring into this fight with us. And so we need you to stand union strong to make sure that we still have jobs at the end of this fight. Because it's all of us standing together. And we can win this fight the way we have always in the past. But in order to do that, there's a couple things you need to do. First of all, when you go into work tomorrow morning, make sure you're letting people know that you're a part of a union that's fighting to preserve our jobs. Everybody needs to hear the good news. Everybody needs to understand what's happening. Second, we should be letting people realize that the fight isn't over, and there will probably be times in the future again when they deny the union's presence and strengths. But people need to have fidelity to themselves and each other, because what makes us survive these fights is all of us together pushing back and making sure that we support one another. Because the power of the union and the existence of the union is not management's to give. Second, if you aren't on e-dues yet, you need to switch over. Because as long as you're on payroll dues deduction, management continues to have its finger on the switch and the ability to turn on and off your membership. That's something that none of us should have to put up with. We decide that we want to have a voice on the job. We decide that we're protecting the work we do. We decide that we're standing for the veterans, not management. And finally, if you had at any point been convinced by management that the union was gone and let your membership lapse, now is the time to rejoin. Now more than ever, we need to be standing together to fight for our jobs and fight for the work that we do. So I want to thank you again for joining us this evening. I want to thank you for making sure that your union has the support that it needs. And I'm going to hand it over to Sister Barbara to tell us a little bit about some of the other good work that's going on in the NVAC. Barbara?
Thank you, Dave. And I look forward to working with you in the future on our exciting organizing events that we'll be having. I'm Barbara Casanova. Barb, I'm your Executive Vice President for the National VA Council. I'm the president of Local 2054 in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I thank each and every one of you for taking your time and signing in to know what is happening, what is going on, getting in the fight. President Burke and I are doing our part. We employ you to do your part. What can you do? The number one thing that you can do is rejoin. If you stuck with us through the whole time, thank you. We love you for that. There's no better time than now, if you didn't, to join us. When this administration hits us with lawlessness, as they've done, it costs them zero. They have very deep pockets, but we're in a position where we have to fight, and we need you in the fight. When we fight together, we win. We have a lot of exciting things that we're going to tell you tonight. We're going to have lots of organizing opportunities. We have assistance for you. If you need assistance at some of those events, we'll be glad to help you out. We have amazing communications, legal team, but we are committed. The whole executive board is committed to do what we can to regain our membership, regain our strength, and stay in the fight. Because when we fight, we win. And I'm going to pass it off to our amazing communications director, Travis.
It is an honor to be with everyone tonight. First, let me start by thanking each and every one of you who stood with your union throughout this entire journey. This victory is a result of your voice. You made your voices heard through email, text, and most importantly, in my opinion, social media. This victory is a perfect example of two things. NVAC continued fighting for your best interest despite the blatant disregard of our contract. And two, your membership is the only way that we could have won. Now is the time to build on that momentum and strengthen our union to continue the fight, because unfortunately, the work is not done. We may have won the battle, but the war on America's workforce is far from over. Our VA police are facing potential downgrades as we speak. Nearly every occupation in the VA is short-staffed. The threat of another RIF looms over us all, and the push for privatization gets stronger every day. All of these things detract from the care our veterans deserve. Now, you may be asking yourself, how can I make a difference? How can I get involved? I am so glad that you asked. Social media has been one of the most effective channels for sharing your union success stories and highlighting the importance of fair wages, safer working environments, and adequate staffing. Burnout is real. Your mental and physical health have to be taken care of. And we've heard so many situations that could have been avoided. Here's what we need from you. Send us an email at communication@nationalvacouncil.org, highlighting any of the issues mentioned on this call tonight, so that your union can advocate for positive change that everyone can benefit from. We've been fighting for you regardless of the contract, just like we had been long before we even had a collective bargaining agreement at AFGE. The union is made up of VA employees just like you, don't forget that, who decided enough is enough and it's time to fight for positive change at the VA. Another great way that you can fight for your union and be the change the VA needs is to send us a video talking about your union success stories. Record yourself on non-duty time and off campus talking about the importance of hiring more nurses and doctors, raising pay and benefits for our VA police, and keeping environmental differential pay for all who deserve it. This movement starts with you. Thank you for being a member of AFGE, and above all, thank you for the work that you do day in and day out to care for our veterans. It is now my honor to introduce the president of AFGE, Dr. Everett Kelly.
Thank you, Travis. And to all the leaders on this call tonight, I wanted to say thank you. I won't prolong the time. Time is already spent. But I wanted to take this opportunity to say to the leaders of AFGE, to the brothers and sisters of AFGE that have stood this course. We had a tremendous victory, but we do not need to sit on our laurels, right? We still have much work to do. But I have to encourage every member for standing up when they could have sat down. I have to encourage every leader for standing there in the gap for those that didn't even understand what was going on. Now, it's no doubt the reason why they came after your contract first, because it's the best contract in the federal government. That's what I truly believe. But they didn't realize that the NVAC was not the one to reckon with, because you didn't take your ball and go home. No, you stood up and you fought back. And to every member on this call tonight, we're here because of you, because of your persistence, because of your willingness to give yourselves for this fight. Now, I encourage everyone, as we leave here tonight, I encourage everyone to go and talk to other people about the wins that we have and tell them how we did it. Because the only way we did it was because of our unity, because of our solidarity, and because of our togetherness. And brothers and sisters, I'm calling on every one of you. I know that you stood up. I know that you took the charge. But brothers and sisters, we got much work to do. Let's do it together. Let's win the rest of these battles that are before us. If we do it in unity, there is nothing that we cannot achieve. So thank you, and God bless you all.
In summation, we are so proud of the efforts of our legal team, our national council, executive committee, our national officers, our local leaders, and our staff. But most importantly, we're proud of you, our members. Without support, we would have not been able to fight in the courts or Capitol Hill or each of the facilities across the country. I'm honored to be your National VA Council President, and I have enjoyed connecting with all the familiar faces in the chat tonight. Though we may not have all the answers right now, we will continue to hold virtual meetings just like this in the future to keep you informed. And I also want to say you can send any of the questions and contact information to communication@nationalvacouncil.org. Thank you for your continued support, and thank you for standing with the NVAC. Good night.